Is Eritrean opposition gradually dying? An international Eritrean opposition group, which made international headlines in the last 2 years, is faced with internal divisions. All that in this video. Thanks for watching my views and news. Warm welcome to all of you. For the last few days, I've been thinking about doing a video on Eritrean opposition groups, especially Brigade Nihame. I covered almost each and every major development about Brigade Nihame since its launch over 2 years ago. I covered its major activities, its attacks on pro-Eritrean government festivals. I covered its engagements with the Ethiopian government, action taken by some governments on Brigade Nhamedu. I did some videos on that too. I am fully updated, I think, about the activities of Brigade Nhamedu. What is happening now internally? Because we know that a few weeks ago, Brigade Nhamedu announced to start an armed struggle against the Eritrean government from Ethiopian Afar region. And Brigade Nhamedu delegation visited Afar region of Ethiopia. It visited Tigray region of Ethiopia. We heard from Brigade Nhamedu leaders that they were going to start uh, organizational recruitment activities in coming days to start their armed movement against the Eritrean government using Ethiopian Afar region as a base. What happened after that? Well, firstly, Brigade Nhamedu is the only Eritrean opposition group which has made its presence felt in recent years. Since I started covering Eritrea and Ethiopia over 5 years ago, I think the only Eritrean opposition group which gained some importance and which came under spotlight is Brigade Nihame. The movement arose in Europe mainly. From Europe, it expanded. In Europe, it expanded. Then from Europe, it expanded into other parts of the world. It was essentially a movement launched by a few Eritrean opposition individuals who involved Eritrean youths. It was a decentralized sort of movement. There was no one central global body to lead the movement. A country specific movement which, when expanded, saw the birth of several Brigade Nhamedu chapters, Brigade Nhamedu UK chapter, Brigade Nhamedu Germany chapter, Brigade Nhamedu US chapter, Canada chapter, Israel chapter. All these Brigade Nhamedu units were not under one command. Situation now is that Brigade Nhamedu is faced with the worst internal divisions. Not inter-country divisions, but intra-country divisions too. At least in two European countries, in each of them, there are more than one Brigade Nihame groups. Britain and Germany. In Britain and Germany, in both these countries, Brigade Nihame is not united. So they could not unite on country level, on continental level, on global level. Rather, after their expansion, they started splitting and forming new groups. What is the reason? Obviously, reason is that there is a culture of intolerance, perhaps, among the Eritrean political activists, refusing to accept each other. They don't believe in genuine dialogue to sort out differences. That is why they split. Still, some groups managed to show democratic practices. If you remember, a few months ago in Britain, new Brigade Nhamedu leadership was elected. One group elected the leadership, other group was not part of the election. They have shown some promising development in terms of internal mechanisms to elect leaders. But on country level, continental level, global level, they split. They could not unite. Firstly. Secondly, Brigade Nhamedu resorted to use of violence to achieve their objectives. From day one, I've been critical of this approach. On the streets of Europe, they attacked each other, they attacked police, they killed each other, I would say. In Israel, in Germany, in Sweden, in Britain, we saw clashes between Eritreans and police. Dozens have been killed so far. It was very likely that the movement could face challenges, legal action, and this is what happened. Uh, John was sentenced to imprisonment. Recently, German government, Danish government launched a crackdown on Brigade Nhamedu people, especially in Germany. They were declared a terrorist domestic entity, to which they reacted, calling their movement a peaceful democratic movement. But damage has been done. Their strategy of using force actually tarnished their image. European countries don't want to see violence on their streets, violence which was turning into a danger for their own residents, because in some areas, entire neighborhoods remained blocked for hours because of clashes between Eritrean opposition groups and pro-Eritrean government communities. So, Brigade Nihame strategy of using violence as a force proved counterproductive. Secondly, Eritrean government realized that Brigade Nhamedu had the potential to challenge Eritrean government. Eritrean government activated its support base in diaspora. It went to the extent of providing financial support to its groups in diaspora to stop the Brigade Nhamedu people. So Eritrean government organized, financed pro-government diaspora groups in different countries of Europe. In Israel, they went to the extent of providing legal support to pro-Eritrean government diaspora community members who were involved in a clash against Brigade Nihame people. But we, I think, cannot blame Eritrean government for the failure of Brigade Nihame movement. Brigade Nihame has itself to blame. It shot itself in the foot when it resorted to violence. Now it is trying to rebrand its image as a peaceful movement. But when one of your leaders is openly saying that the movement is going to launch an armed struggle based in the Ethiopian Afar region to topple Isaias Afwerki's government, either other movement chapters will have to distance themselves from that statement. If they back the statement, it would be difficult for them to sell the statements in the countries where they live, where armed resistance perhaps is not allowed. And such statements are used by American government to convince the Western governments to launch crackdowns on Brigade Nihame, the people there. Overall, now we can sum up that the movement which rose 2 years ago with international headlines and turned into a sort of a small threat against the Eritrean government is gradually dying down. It's not that the movement is about to be fully dismantled, but I think these people, Brigade Nhamedu people, will have to hold extensive internal discussions to find a new path for their struggle, armed or political. How to create unity on continental, country, and world level. Should they trust Ethiopia or not? Because when PM Abiy gives their backing to Brigade Nhamedu, people split. Some said that Abiy was not reliable. Others were supportive of Abiy. So can they trust Abiy's government? Can they trust Abiy, PM Abiy of Ethiopia? PM Abiy's track record is not very convincing. Whoever uh, trust him, sometimes they just regret. Getachew was thrown under the bus recently. Before that, Somaliland president Musi was also thrown under the bus by PM Abiy. Eritrea trusted Abiy. Both tried to crush TPLF, but Abiy then claimed access to sea. Eritrea calls it Eritrea says that this is what Abiy paid in return to Eritrea for Eritrean military support for the Ethiopian government. So it is difficult to trust Abiy. Abiy might be using Brigade Nihame just to put pressure upon Isaias Afwerki government. If Afwerki government agrees to give some concessions to Ethiopia about access to sea, Zimbabwe's government might just discard its support for Brigade Nihame. All that questions, all that scenarios need to be discussed, and a consensus should be created in Brigade Nhamedu circles about the future course of the struggle. So far, we can sum up that the movement is losing momentum, fighting internal divisions, split over the start of armed resistance, and trying to find new ways of its struggle while its leaders are being put in prisons in Western countries. Thanks for watching.